Good morning and welcome to another amazing new week right here in the Garden City of Port Harcourt. This is Atlantic Television Network and it's always a pleasure having you join us on ATN Blowout, because Atlantic Blowout is a syndicated live program of the network that features chit-chatting and conversations on special interest topics on news events and stories through correspondence reports, expert opinion and stakeholders analysis. Let's take a look at the stories we'll be taking. This one's on power, where it states that governors urge NERC to liberalize retail electricity space. And then the president beckons on Nigerians to be sacrificial. And then FG to begin assessment of Ogoni cleanup. And then on the National Assembly now, Senate Committee okays special or purchase of presidential aircraft. And then we'll look at the story on corruption, where police raise alarm over missing names in the list. Narcotics, NDLEA bust cartel and seizes 4.1 billion naira worth cocaine. And then on governance, Clary criticizes President Tinubu's administration on insecurity and inflation. We'll introduce our guests who are already seated with us in the studio after the short break and delve into the story. Please stay with us.
I hope nobody carry belle.
Why you ask, oh?
Because this road where they see, so it no guarantee safe delivery.
We just dey vote for government, but we not get good governance.
At all.
Road so e no dey, light o usai, the infrastructure nko e come turn to be forbidden fruit for the city.
Corruption, spoil everything. Hello?
Hello, madam. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Mrs. Ayeni. I am calling from the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs.
Okay. Okay, I've been expecting your call.
Madam, remove this your phone from loudspeaker.
No vex. Now my phone be like that. Hello?
Are you there?
I hear, I'm hearing you.
Yes. We saw a copy of your invoice for computers, printers, and laptops.
Yes. Are you working on them now?
Ma, the prices you quoted are way too high now.
Madam, sorry, please don't call.
We found the laptop you said is 1.8 million naira for 600,000 naira.
Hello?
Now my body network there.
I can't hear you. Network is bad.
Madam, we can hear you. Continue.
Hello, I can't hear you. I will call you back.
That behavior not good now.
Madam, now this kind behavior they kill our country. You suppose do things differently, make Nigeria for better.
Corruption not in my country. This message is brought to you by the Akin Fadeyi Foundation, the MacArthur Foundation,
and with broadcast support from Atlantic Television Network.
corruption not in my country.
I don't get a lot. Boy, they won't booga me small. They say, man, give them bribe. I say, nothing. Okay, now, we'll go block later. You remember that contract we will do that time now? They don't pay.
But first, you see the house rent with the old things. We go first call caretaker, take the money, slap him.
Beg, see, you know, say I get annual levy why they pay for club. Where me and boys they shout beer in our house, I could pay that one. You remember say me and tell you I go buy you motor. I go buy now.
Okay, they pay you money now. We don't they beg caretaker? We they beg landlord, old man, and they agree give us time. Money can't come now. You won't divert time. You said na corruption. Corruption, not in my house and not in my country.
Sure?
Sure.
Corruption not in my country. This message is brought to you by the Akin Fadeyi Foundation, the MacArthur Foundation,
and with broadcast support from Atlantic Television Network.
from the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains. Through the Sahara, we bring on-the-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Thank you so much for staying right here with us on Atlantic Television Network. It's still ATM Blowout, and I told you after the break we'll introduce our guest. I have with me on my right, I'm talking about Chief Magnus Edo. He's a royal chief, and he's a traditional ruler of Kwawa in Kana local government area, right here in Rivers State. Good morning to you, Chief.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yes, how are you doing today?
Bless God.
It's an amazing Monday morning, right?
Our Muslim people are praying for us.
People are praying for us?
Yes.
Oh, okay. And we ask for more prayers?
Yes.
All right. Let's also introduce with us in the studio, I'm talking about Dr. John Idumange.
Thank you.
And he's a journalist, as an arbitrator, and a management consultant. Always a pleasure having you on board.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming. I love your outfits.
Yes,
how many times have I told you that?
Frankly, in February 2024, I was converted to Islam. So
I thought it was this morning it happened.
It was. If you want to add my Muslim name, it's Abdurrahman.
What?
Abdurrahman.
What does it mean?
It means servant of the Most High God.
That's so beautiful. Welcome to Islam.
Thank you.
All right, let's go straight to it now, looking at the very first story we have on our table. The independent electricity distribution network and distribution franchise models developed by the federal government through the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission have not been effective. State governors have said this. Now, due to this, the governor said State Electricity Regulatory Commission should come up with new models that would open the retail electricity space for companies to compete and tackle the poor power supply situation nationwide. Now, on January 16, 2024, correspondents reported that the federal government, through NERC, issued 13 new licenses for the generation of off-grid and embedded power, independent electricity distribution, as well as the trading of electricity. All right, back to the heading of that story now. Let's get to find out what you think about this one. Royal Chief, let's get you first.
I think the governors are waking up from their slumber by saying this, because for me, I think they see the situations of this country, what plays around the power sector is something we keep saying it every day, that when you have people in a particular office and the masses are crying every day for poor power supply, and then you see the regulations against that particular sectors, that some certain percentage the state cannot generate power as per se, and then they are coming up that they should come up with new model how they can ensure that the masses enjoy a constant power supply. For me, it's a good one. It's a good one. If actually it comes to reality, it's not only by saying it. But again, I think this thing needs to go back to the National Assembly, and then they look at some laws, some laws that guide it. Even independent power supply, there are some solar energy companies that can also be looked at, and also give them the right to generate power in some areas, because you see
that state governors now.
The state governors can still come together, just like they have said so. And then there are some independent power companies, like the energy supply companies. They can look at it, and then we see how that we are talking about the masses. How could it benefit the common man in my own community? How could the person in my own community? You see, the problem I'm still having with this our power generating company is that they just come all the areas and say these are our areas. If you want to come in there, you are taking my areas and you are not giving me light. If I have somebody that can provide electricity for me, you use the law against that person. So it's something I think is a good step.
All right, let's hear you, Dr. John.
Yes, it is difficult to estimate the extent to which the Regulatory Commission can exercise its powers. But, you know, in Nigeria, 63 years after independence, we are just talking of power supply. It's a shame. It's a big shame because we have all it takes to provide power. If you go to the riverine areas and Ogoni areas, you see this gas flaring. Just not, government is not, they have not put in place a mechanism to maximally utilize the gas, the natural gas we have. So I think the governors are making they have taken a good step, but what for me will lead to improved power supply is the one thing I like with the Buhari administration, they unbundled the power supply. So for now, private individuals, investors, even from outside the country, and the state governors can invest in power supply. So I expect the state governors will come in by way of, take for instance, in Bayelsa State. When Bayelsa State was created in 1996, the state depended solely on independent power supply. And again, you know, the gas turbines had been installed right from the Second Republic, right from the time of the Second Republic governor, Chief Melford Obieno Okilo. So if we are able to come up with such initiatives, because the essence of, you know, supplying power adequately to a population is one, it will create job opportunities. Even women who can sell mineral and so on will be gainfully employed. There are those who just, you know, deal with ice block, and they are also in business. Other people like those selling beer parlors, and so those light is needed for artisan work to go on. Like the welders we have by the roadside, those who are, you know, into welding, into other related jobs, they will all be gainfully employed.
So it will improve investment.
Yes, it will improve. In fact, not only that, it will generate a lot of revenue by way of levies and, you know, tariffs from those people. So it is better for the state government to go in, supply, distribute, generate and distribute, and make that money. It will be a source of one of the major sources of internally generated revenue. Then there are also some investors who are willing to come and invest. Since power supply has been unbundled, I think they should create a very big window for these active partners to come into Nigeria and see what they can do. We have been mounting power supply, power supply, power supply. Government has not been able to supply power to all Nigerians. Yet they are talking of tariff. That is my problem with the Tinubu administration. Since the inception of the administration, it is one tax to another, one levy to another, and so on. Even using a vehicle is now becoming a problem. So I want government to face this squarely. The Nigerian Governors Forum should not just end with saying they should improve on that package. Let them take a practical step. They should take an affirmative action by way of contributing money. If they can even do that in blocks. Like in the Niger Delta area, we have what we call the Brace Commission. Bayelsa is there, Rivers is there, Akwa Ibom is there, Cross River is there, Edo is there, and Delta is there. These sixes can come together and say, look, we are taking up the responsibility of power supply in our area. Others, it will not be an example for others to follow. So enough of this talk, let us swing into action.
Our state governors and our leaders actually have advisors, people who are supposed to be experts in the various sectors in which they are advising our leaders now. So looking at some of these issues that we have on ground in Nigeria, especially when it has to do with electricity. We know the benefits of electricity, how far it can go, how far we can go if we have electricity on ground, and the ills that the lack of electricity is actually causing right now. So why do you think these steps that should be taken, these ideas that Nigerians come up with all the time? You talked about gas flaring and the fact that our gas is not being, these gas that are being flared, first of all, not good for the environment. Secondly, that's waste of money. Because if you sit down and you analyze it, you find out that if those gases that are being flared are being used and utilized, Nigeria's economy will be way better than it is currently. So why do you think those steps are not being taken towards cases like this? Royal Chief, let's hear you.
That is a complaint we have every time concerning government and the activities of government. Don't think that they don't know the steps to take. But I think things of government, they don't give opportunities much to private investors to come into certain areas. These are regulations that bring in the bottleneck of investors taking very active in areas that can be very viable to our economy.
You think that's going to solve the problem, giving space or opportunities for more private individuals to get involved?
Of course, it will be very good for government to give opportunities to private investors to come in some critical areas, some sectors like the oil and gas. You know, like you talk about the gas flaring in my own area. If you see investors, genuine investors that can come in and talk with the people, and government guarantee the licenses they have and issue license. I don't know how the ministers of petroleum or the minister of petroleum for states, I don't know whether he thinks that it's only oil that any petroleum, only oil that can generate revenue to this country, where we have a lot of gas being wasted on a daily basis, mostly in the River State here. I think if they look at those areas and set up committees that will bring out the best ideas to the government, and the government should be a listening government. I will listen to the plight of the people, and the essence of why we are here is to tell the government the exact truth and how our people are feeling at the grassroots. So I think...
All right, bringing in more private individuals to solve the problem?
Yes, see, our economy is a capitalist economy. It is a neoliberal economy. In fact, frankly, government has no business in business. That is true. You know, government should do very little and very limited interference in matters concerning distributing, in matters concerning provision of amenities. There are some, now since you were born, have you heard one day that America is looking for investors in the power sector? Those things are never discussed because there are companies, there are private companies in those areas providing, you know, in a competitive manner, providing those services. If a group of people are not, if for instance Florida or Texas is not satisfied with the services of one power company, they bring in another company. It is a thing of competition. You have to compete. You have to provide quality services. So, you know, bringing in, creating windows, and again, you know, reducing the cost of doing business. That is one important thing. Now in Nigeria, our naira has been devalued. Now it's about 180% devalued. The level at which we borrow money has also increased. The naira is no longer as useful as it used to be to an average Nigerian. When you add that to the cost of living crisis, there is one thing that we should look at. Private investors should come in. Though for now, return on investment in the area of power supply, in the power sector, will not be as viable because the naira has been devalued. But all the same, even in Nigeria, our indigenous investors can come up with such packages. We have rich men who can, you know, provide power and get...
Who I guess are also willing.
They may be willing, but you know the Nigerian factor.
What's the Nigerian factor?
The Nigerian factor is when you begin to key into this, even this pay-as-you-go system. If you go to some homes, they have bypass connections. We are not very straightforward people.
Which they're actually fighting against.
We are all in some cases.
Of are fighting against it. When they come to your house and see that you had that, they will definitely disconnect you.
When they disconnect you,
and you pay for
now when they disconnect you, is there no way you will talk to those same people give them money, and
So
they
we
reconnect you. So that is the Nigerian factor. Apart from that, the power sector is a sector that should be able to generate a lot of revenue, even for government. But I want a situation where private sector, gradually, government should hand over this thing to the private sector. Take MTN, for instance, the mobile telephony. Before now, we didn't have mobile, but when it was liberalized, when investors came in, Vodafone, Airtel was the first, Econet came in, MTN, and so on. They started coming in. The SIM card, the first SIM card I bought was 25,000 naira in 2002, early 2002. Now SIM card is free as a result of competition. So let us embrace this idea of, private sector investment.
Government doesn't have any. Government should not get involved in business. I can't really place the exact.
No, what I'm saying, government has no business.
Has no business with business. How do you expect them to bring in funds and raise funds for?
No, what I'm saying is, in an ideal capitalist economy, it is not the responsibility of government to provide all these services. What they should, government has to have the regulatory function. Policy making belongs to government. But when you talk of operating these power plants and so on, it is supposed to be 70% to 80% the responsibility of private investors. While government is regulating, government can impose tax, government can make policies, and so on and so forth. But talking about providing this, government cannot effectively deliver on certain services. That's what I'm saying.
All right, so that's a suggestion. Now, not just you, we have Royal Chief who's also on that side. Now, let's look at the next story. President Bola Tinubu on Sunday said Nigeria needed sacrificing citizens, that's sacrificial citizens, to fulfill the dreams of its founding fathers. Now, Tinubu made the remark while addressing newsmen after observing the 2024 Eid al-Adha prayers at Dodan Barracks in Lagos. The president emphasized the need for the people to follow the path of sacrifice to make the nation great. Being a very good citizen comes with responsibility. As citizens, what do you do to be very committed or be a very committed member of our society? Go and sacrifice. Love your country. Love your neighbors. Share what you have with one another and be thankful to the Almighty God. That's all, said the president. Royal Chief, aren't we sacrificial enough?
No. Well, that is a statement you expect from a leader. It must give you, we must encourage you at all times to face the challenges the country is facing. So you don't expect the president of the country to talk more or less than this. But for me, I think if he can place his word into actions, there will be reality on ground for Nigerians to see.
Which of the words now? The words about us being sacrificial?
Yes, being sacrificial. Are we not being sacrificial enough in this country?
That's a big question.
Okay. You bought a vehicle yesterday. You find it very difficult to, if you enter the road, you see that many of the commuters were stranded at Port Harcourt here in River State here yesterday, mostly in the evening hour. What was the cost of it? And an ability to get PMS to use for their vehicles. So these are sacrifice. People start using their legs and then getting to their homes very late, and it's dangerous for human health. So you are talking about sacrificials, you are talking about love. Yes, we love this country, There's nobody that think we don't love the country, because we did not, there was no competitions with God where you be born, and we find ourselves here. So we love this country. But why I'm saying that it should be put in action, it should look at its policies and its programs. What has it done wrong? And where are we going as a country?
But he has told us already, looking at those policies, that we should just be patient, and they will definitely be fruitful.
We can't be patient and we don't talk. We can't be patient and we don't eat. We can't be patient and things start rising, and people are dying, and you are calling people to be patient. We won't be patient. We need a change. We need a dynamics that will bring things down.
Now, he has said these policies just need time. Right? They are policies that are directed towards the right direction, right? Where we want the country to be. But we need time. So he's saying, give me that time, and with time, you will see that everything is going to be amazing.
No, we have a short-term policy and a long-term policy. When you talk about policy and implementations of policies, it should come out clearly. Are you telling us that the price of goods will reduce in the next 3 years? And what the people that cannot survive this hardship? Are you telling Nigerians that your policies are long-term policies? After these 2 years, politics will start, and then governors will drop. The governance of this country will drop. They will talking about the next government. So if you cannot achieve it within your 1 year in office, and we don't see any practical steps of achieving this year long-term policies, because he is talking about long-term policies, and every policies that do not carry human face, that do not carry the masses that voted you into power, then you are talking about political policies that will benefit the political class, not the masses, because the masses are the most people that suffer enough. Because like we speak now, we are talking about the cost of goods in the market, and you are telling my mother at home to be patient, and you have 1,000 naira, you cannot afford to buy one commodity, you cannot buy one thing from the market, and you are telling them to be patient. And we're patient because in the next 2 weeks, the price of the increased salaries of workers, or we're talking about the minimum wage, the living wage keep increasing. So for me, yes, you have said that we should love ourselves. Are we not loving ourselves? We love ourselves so much.
Do we love ourselves so much?
We love ourselves so much because me, I love anybody.
Or you're just being patriotic?
No, me, I love anybody around me because it's a command. It's a command from
the corruption that we have eaten so deep in our society, does that show love in any way?
And that is the love.
The fact that you eat what belongs to me or what should be for me, and you're spending it because you're ahead of me.
And that is the love that Mr. President should demonstrate to Nigerians, that to identify those corrupt leaders and deal with them according to the law.
All right, very chief stated something. Okay, let's get your thoughts first.
Maybe the president wants atomic bomb thrown to all the citizens.
He didn't say so.
Because we are all, as we speak, he has made a statement as a statesman, as a leader. That is what ordinarily a leader would say. But talking about being patriotic, talking about loving Nigeria, you cannot flog a child and expect the child to keep quiet, not to cry. You cannot at the same time.
What if you're flogging the child for his own good? You know what they say about disciplining children?
See, in politics, in Nigeria, our democracy is this. You take office, the constitution says 4 years. Thereafter, you are still eligible for re-election. When we talk of long-term policy, short-term policy, looking at the tenure of office of the president or the governor, you run with short-term policies. Yes. Policies that will not take too long a time to mature, between 1 and 3 years. But in between, there are what we call quick impact projects. Today, the cost of living we are facing, the cost of living crisis we are facing, I think Nigerians are the most resilient people. If you go to some East African countries and they say a bag of rice has increased by 2 cents, there will be nationwide protests. In Zambia, we have seen it. In Mozambique, we have seen it. In Angola, we have seen it. In other countries, what Nigerians are tolerating will never happen. They will shut down the country. So, you are, again, the presidency is a shame. The presidency is not exemplary. Yes.
How do you mean?
Why? Look at it. Look at the vice president's apartment. When Yomi Osimajo was vice president, he made do with the Aguda building. That was good enough. The building of the vice president of America has been used for more than 135 years. They have not, apart from minor renovations and so on, they are still using it. Here, only how many days ago? Now they are spending so much money again to renovate and to rebuild the office of the vice president. Now, the Senate is talking about buying a new aircraft for the president.
We'll get to that.
This is what we are saying. Just recently, was it 2 days ago, the presidency went to take another loan of $2.25 billion from the World Bank. So the pattern of governance
Isn't that one of the ways that you've talked about cushioning the effect of the impact?
They are not cushioning any effect.
Looking at our economy,
we are the same people.
Don't we need any funds? Don't we need any funds that we can get?
So much of this money will be looted again because anti-corruption is not working. So much of this money.
It's just the fear of the money being looted.
Not just being looted.
Okay, you don't feel that these monies will be effective if put into our economy.
Nigeria sells oil every day. We know how much we realize. We know how much we realize by way of taxation, internal generated revenue. We know how much government is making. This money is not being properly utilized. Yes, there is a cabal. This cabal is still operating. Now, was it last week or so? They said documents revealed that the subsidy regime was still being sustained. This time around with a higher figure, 4.5 trillion in 2024. Government should come clean on such matters.
Well, the government has told us that doesn't exist.
When you tell us,
we should not look at the World Bank report.
When you tell me,
listen to what our government has
when a mother tells a child that there's no soup in the kitchen again, and you see the mother eating a bar,
no, I think the example here should be when a mother tells a child there's no soup in the kitchen, and then a neighbor comes and tells the child that there's soup in your kitchen.
No, in this case,
because it's the World Bank actually came up with that.
No, in this case,
and Nigerians have jumped at it.
No, in this case, the mother says we are dry. There's no soup in the kitchen, but you see the mother eating so much. When there's no soup, the child will expect that there was no food at home. But today, you see the presidency planning a new jet, planning renovating houses, making Abuja look like it. So those are the issues.
This is not the first
time. We are talking about.
This is not the first time we're having cases like
we're even talking about addressing the minimum wage issue. The federal government is very cagey.
Okay.
Oh, if we increase the minimum wage, it will lead to more inflation and more inflation. But here we are. The federal government, donating so much money to pilgrims, the federal government making trips with a huge retinue of aides and advisors. So the body language of the president does not show that we are operating on austerity.
Okay, let me hear you, Chief. Are you one of those Nigerians who believe that the government has to come clean on payment of subsidy?
The payment of subsidy, we have been saying this every day, that they are not truthful about the subsidy matter.
Why do you think so?
Because there's no practical example. There's nothing shows for that. There's nothing that is showing us that there is subsidy payment. There's nothing showing us. Because
what do you expect to see that
I want to see those leaders that have been eating this money being prosecuted. I want to see them being arrested. I want to see corrupt leaders. They should identify that these are the people.
No, the signs that you said you want to see concerning that will prove to you that subsidy is actually.
There are people that are eating this money, and you don't bring them to book, and you expect a new engines to just come from anywhere. The new engines that we don't know that engines, that engine Gabriel should just come down and begin to do things right. The same people are still there, and you said you are doing this. And for me, I'm not satisfactory with that statement and with that pattern of government. If you are my child, for instance, and you did something wrong, and I know that this thing you are doing is not good, and I did not correct you, correct you in-housely, internally, that my neighbor will see that actually this child did something wrong, and the father say don't do this, and the child has actually changed. Then what do you expect from me as a father? So the country we are living in is like within the shortest time, the news will trend and go away, and we face another one. They will manufacture another news that will silence the other ones we are talking about. So since it's not part of our news today, we cannot address more about that.
During our Royal Chief's first analysis, he mentioned 1 year in office. We really haven't seen so much. Do you agree that after 1 year in office, we haven't seen profitable reform?
The federal government has afflicted the citizens of Nigeria with poverty, hunger, unemployment, and more tax.
Didn't we have unemployment, poverty, hunger before this administration?
Remember, see, before I say the government has afflicted us with poverty and so on, what was the main reason Tinubu campaigned? He campaigned about job creation. He campaigned about social welfare programs. He campaigned about alleviating poverty. He campaigned about so many things. But we are seeing the opposite of what he campaigned for. In a constitutional democracy, if you are a power holder, you will be held accountable for the promises you have made. Because people will voted for you because the masses voted, the electorate voted for you because of those promises. When you fail, it is our responsibility too to point out that you have failed. And what is happening now will determine what will happen in 2027.
What were you expecting to see that you haven't seen?
Number one, you came and you saw the unemployment situation. You said you will create jobs for Nigerian youths. Number two, you said as soon as you come in, you will ensure that infrastructure is given a facelift. We have not seen that. Number three, you came, you said you will alleviate poverty. You have worsened the poverty situation.
Okay, so now let me tell you some steps that the government has taken.
Yes.
To elevate poverty and improve or increase business engagement. Now, first of all, we have the student loan. Student loan, don't forget, aside assisting the students, it was also stated that students can also come in and take loans for business. So aside taking loans for your school fees or whatever, that's one. Secondly, we have reports that the federal government gave out student loans for business owners, both large-scale business owners, small-scale, and micro business. Is it now business owners? This is also what is there. So why are we speaking like we haven't seen anything?
Let me correct something. The students' loan scheme has not been operated. You remember?
Over 3,000 students. Over 3,000 students have applied, and they have told us they're giving us a day. They're giving us time frame that we expect the students to start assessing.
What I'm saying is,
with this steps that I've mentioned now, don't you think nothing still?
Most of the so-called small scale, what led to the suspension of the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs? You know that those social investment programs have been suspended since then. Was it? It's up to 6 months now, yes, if not more. So, talking about those loans and so on, what is the critical mass that benefited from the loans? How much loan are they giving? The loan, there was no need for government to even give loans, because if they give you 5 million naira, the money has no worth any longer. What business can you do with 5 million naira? How many people are they giving the loans?
Isn't that a way to cushion the effect
no.
for business owners?
See,
Royal Chief, you don't see that as a step towards that direction?
Just like I will keep saying it, if you want to help the students, reduce the cost of their tuition fees
so,
for the universities, and you can run some courses free. Government take the responsibilities. Okay, like we are doing in our primary school, there's some state government can say, okay, if you have a social number of score, you'll be enrolled for government scholarship. There's no need of this loan we are talking about. If the government really see that they want to help the students in this country, and you don't regulate the tuition fees in the federal institutions, you don't regulate it. Any vice chancellor will come with his own new policies, and then nobody's talking about that. I was to pay 200, 300 per term, as it may be in some higher institutions. If you can control those areas and see that the welfare of students has been taken care of, there's no need for law.
In general, talking about that amount, because I haven't heard any federal institution paying over 200,000 naira for school
go and find that they are paying now.
School fees.
Yes.
Is that federal or private?
Even federal universities
charging
so much.
What they even do now, they for them, I don't know how to call it. They will say, if you are studying this course, you pay this amount. If you are doing law, you pay this amount. If you are into a doctorate,
is that acceptance?
It does supposed to be like university? That. We are talking about
departmental levies, faculty levies,
all those things.
Okay,
it's coming from one source. It's coming from the parents. You understand? It's coming from one source. So if government can reduce this much expenses to acquire knowledge, to acquire a particular areas of study that you will impart into the lives of this country again. Because after acquiring this, you are coming back to work for the interests of this country. So I think this loan of 18, because cannot access 10 million naira as a person. You cannot. And 10 million naira cannot even give you one small kiosk in Port Harcourt. He cannot. He cannot. Now, what are you?
You can't start any reasonable. You can't start any reasonable business with that.
He cannot. How much is it?
Small kiosk.
How much is this store?
Don't you think that's some sort of exaggeration?
What are you talking about now?
What Chief is saying in essence is you cannot use 10 million naira. you rent an apartment, you rent a shop, then you start something. You can difficult.
Very difficult.
All right, these are some of the reforms, but Dr. John, I also want to find out why you're faulting the student loan.
No, I'm not faulting it.
But you're not the only Nigerian who has said who are against this student loan. They see some sort of hanky-panky being played underneath it. So that's why I'm trying to find out why you don't think that's a step in the right direction towards helping the students and improving education in Nigeria.
Only Satan gives with the right hand and takes with the left.
Yes.
Number one, you came into office and you have increased the school fees. Realizing that it is affecting the mainstream of university education. Yes. You increase the school fees. And when people call and say, oh, I'm going to give you student, it's like giving somebody with the right hand, and you take it back with the what? Left. What? The student don't need the student loan. Yes. Okay. Like Chief said, reduce improve the operational conditions in our various universities. That's all you need to do. You don't need to float another. That students' loan scheme, as good as it may appear, is another layer of inefficiency. It's another layer of corruption they have created. People will be appointed, chairman, executive, secretary, this, that, and you are creating another window of corruption, another chesspool of corruption. Those, if I'm there now as an executive secretary of students' loan, will I not put my brothers in Bayelsa State to benefit from the loan?
So you do that.
That's
the problem of
they will tell you, look, you are in office now. Charity begins. As far as it may seem, you must remember your home first.
Of course.
Where are those people in Bayelsa say, please, your school fees are very high?
Let's not forget that the schools measures are being put in place to make sure that corruption doesn't come in.
I'm sure you are not you defend this government.
The schools
the point is Nigeria is going down.
I can show you how you need to balance it. If you're looking at it on this, you need to look at it on the other end. Nobody's defending anybody here. If you're having thoughts on this side, then you also have to look at this other side. Because when you have mentioned, you didn't mention, you said you haven't seen anything that the government has done
I have not said so.
towards their manifesto now.
No, the manifesto is a complete failure. It's a fiasco, total fiasco. The government should go back to the drawing board. This second year, they should go back to the drawing board. First and foremost, Tinubu needs to rejig his cabinet.
You think that's also
and if possible, use a cabinet. Okay. So many ministries are performing overlapping functions. Rejig the cabinet. Thereafter, take a look at the policy. First of all, dethrone that man who is in charge of, they call him the coordinating minister of the economy. It does not have the wherewithal, the intellectual wherewithal to move Nigeria forward. If possible, also remove that man at the central bank. These people are not fit. That is my own view. I have seen CBN governors. I was born so many years ago. I have seen Abdul Kader, though I was still a small boy. After that, Chiroma, I saw those people. As CBN governors, before it was Sanusi was a sound CBN governor. The essence of being a CBN governor is not just to spend money. Sometimes to advise. For instance, when Sanusi was a CBN governor, he told the federal government that, look, we should reduce borrowing because at that point, the naira was exchanged, 197 naira was exchanging for $1. Now the federal government refused to listen to him and they went to borrow. What did he say? He said, look, if the exchange rate of the naira per dollar is up to 200 naira per dollar, this money you are borrowing, soon it will get to 1 trillion naira. And that was what happened. But we don't have because of the working relationship between President Tinubu and the coordinating minister. They were his ministers in Lagos State. We are talking about Nigeria, not Lagos State. Let's come very open. Nigeria needs a surgical operation. The CBN governor now is not the right person to perform that surgical operation. We need some radicals to go in there and get the job done. Sack the CBN governor, sack the coordinating minister, rejig the cabinet and see what will happen.
All right, let's hope that your thoughts and your opinion here will be listened to and looked into. We're talking for development, actually. Now, let's move on to this next story. The federal government has announced plans to begin assessment of the ongoing cleanup of the oil-polluted site in Ogoni land in Rivers State, Nigeria. This Ogoni cleanup story has been on for some time. This is to ascertain how it impacts the lives and livelihoods of the people. The government promised that it would give attention to addressing the challenges and the bottlenecks affecting the development of the oil and gas rich area. The Senior Special Assistant of Community Engagement, President Blowout South, that's Gift Jumbo. He disclosed this during a one-day Ogoni cleanup stakeholders roundtable meeting in Bori headquarters in Kana local government area of River State on Saturday. Now, Jumbo said the meeting, codenamed Na My Area, Na My Country, Climate Resilience and Adaptation in South Nigeria, was an initiative in Tinubu's Renewed Hope agenda aimed at bringing the government closer to the people. First of all, this initiative in this Tinubu's Renewed Hope agenda that is now going to, Na My Area, Na My Country, something like that, that is now finally going to look at the Ogoni clean-up case that the people have complained that the community people have pointed fingers at the contractors. The contractors have pointed fingers at the crises in some of these in the community, among the community people. You know, when this has been on since 2016, since it was commissioned. We heard about the reports that was carried out first in 2011, finally commissioned and then the high prep, and this has been a very long story and it's been a long time coming now. So let's get your thoughts on this, Royal Chief.
I was at that meeting on Saturday, okay, and that we talk about Ogoni cleanup. There's something I want to to create here, because when we talk about Ogoni cleanup, people thought that all communities in Ogoni, they be carrying shovel and you see people sweeping and all that, and they forgot about the scientific job. And I must commend the current PC, Professor Nini Barizade, for the work that he's doing currently now, because I happen that I come from one of the communities that are doing cleanup, and we have two lot 35 and lot 36 in Kwawa community, and the operation is ongoing.
Operation ongoing?
Yes, operation
towards the cleanup?
Yes, towards
How long has that been?
Since last year, more to 1 year now, that it started in my own community. You know,
but it has been on in other communities?
That is the problem we have when everybody thinks that we talk about impacted areas. Okay. Areas that there was oil exploration over the years and the land was polluted. And you are coming to clean these lands. It's not every area, it's not every communities that we are polluted. But the effect of that affect everybody in the area, affect everybody in Ogoni. Air pollution, the benzene and the water affect everywhere, and that is why they come up with the idea of bringing waters to about 52 communities in Ogoni. You know, bringing potable water and some operations like the one in Bako community in Gokana local government.
So we haven't had potable water in these communities?
Not all communities that have gotten potable water. There are some communities that is in operation.
So we've had communities without clean and potable water?
Yes, we have communities that are very, like in my own community, there is no potable water. Like my own community, there is no potable water. And then I think the process is on, because we have the one that is going on in Bua community, very close by to my own community. So she was talking about looking at the bottleneck. That was a complaint of the stakeholders. That was a complaint made by a renowned traditional ruler, King Dr. Baile Swanu Baridam, the Benemene of Asian Banga Kingdom, that this bottleneck, if the PC want to sign anything, you have to rush to Abuja. You have to rush to Abuja every minute. You want to sign anything. Why can't you allow these people to run these things? Why can't you allow the people to get involved in what is happening? So the presidents have agreed with us that there's a bottleneck. Thank God, there is a bottleneck. You cannot just get up and approve something that is urgent. You have some urgent, like the cases, like the PC clearly mentioned that they are going to purchase an ambulance. You are going into this massive project in an area, and you don't even think that an emergency. There is no ambulance provided for if there's an emergency on any side of their workers. There is none. But I think
no provision.
No provision. But like the PC with his own idea,
yes.
he has promised us that very soon they will go into procurement of an ambulance that will service all the old areas. You know, so there are some things that the Ogonians which which I am from Ogoni, that we need the process to be speed up. Okay, all the project sides they should speed up. You know, they should speed it up. Like the PC client mentioned that by next year August, going to commission the Center of Excellence, which is wonderful. And even next month, Mr. President is also coming to going to commission some certain project being carried out by high prep management. So what I'm thinking that the president need to do more, like the interface with stakeholders, that he had carried out all the ideas, all the contributions, the senior advisor I've heard from the people of Ogoni, that they should look at it.
Is this the first time since 2016 that they're actually hearing from the people of Ogoni and having a roundtable concerning the Ogoni cleanup?
It's not supposed to be once, not supposed to be twice. For me, it should be every week. You have to hear from the people.
So why does it, if they've actually had meetings like this in the past, the things that were discussed during those meetings, so some of those meetings, the ones you're aware of now, that's what I'm talking about. Any other one that has been done before now?
The problem we have, the changing of this project coordinator. Before anybody came in, there was Dr. Ferdinand Giandam that was there. He didn't even serve his tenure. They have the tenure of 4 years. Yeah, you will see the same people will be coming, oh, change this one, and they keep changing PC, and it affect the operations.
So
that's why we are also saying that they should allow this one to complete these 4 years.
Okay.
They should allow this one to complete
let's hear from you.
Yes, the Ogoni cleanup is it has been on the drawing board for a long time now. You know, UNEP commissioned that report 2011, and the cleanup started in effect in 2016. Now that said, I am not really impressed with the speed of work with respect to Ogoni cleanup. We have spent about 8 years now. So much, about 90% of what we have done is talk, meetings. Much as we agreed that the cleanup has started, we expected, you know, these bodies to expedite action. You know, this crude oil spillage thing, pollution, is very, very devastating. Not only does it affect the soil, it affects the undersoil. It renders so many farmlands, you know, not able. You cannot plant in those areas except there's a cleanup. After restoration, they should restore the environment in the way it used to be before the oil spillage. Now, apart from that, the UNEP report categorically stated that there is a need for them to establish a fund, environmental protection fund or something, to fund the cleanup. And they showed that not only will they clean up the mess, but they will also restore. But that has not been done. The process is rather too slow, and I want the federal government to take it very seriously. There are so many areas in the Niger Delta that have been impacted. In Bayelsa State, so many areas. Even my own community in the Nembe local government area has been affected. Now we are looking at Ogoni land as, you know, a case study of how this cleanup can be done. If we are going to take a bigger area, not just Ogoni area, if we take the entire Niger, it means it will take decades, 2 to 3 decades for them to do this cleanup. The leaders will die, some will come up with new policies and so on. So this disjointed approach towards Ogoni cleaning should be addressed. When they appoint a CP, they should ensure that it serves as a tenure. Terms of reference should be given to him.
Yes.
And community leaders should not be allowed to go and harass that man. He has to work according to those terms of references. These are the issues. However, even if there is any internal wrangling in Ogoni land, it should not stop the job. The job must continue.
So how can they ensure that? Because some of the complaints that have come is that some communities, the crisis that has happened in some of these communities have at one point or the other affected the work.
I think that was the beginning of the work. No community can come up to say this because there is crisis. That's why work is not going on. And we also give it to the CSO in high prep. how you interface with the communities, leaders, and the youth of every communities that this project is being cited. You see that this commission is very effective with leaders of the community, and you see areas that are supposed to have issues. There's not issues at all. I think there is much people in court against the process, unlike when they started it. Currently now, I don't think they have issues much in court. This dialogue pattern of alternative dispute resolution is also working, and that is why the IPREP has also come up with training traditional rulers on how to interface with people when they have issues. So these are areas that they also train. I was part of those they train on this procurement process. How you can approach government, any bidding that is ongoing in the country, and you have a company and a business name, you can go about it. They've trained they train people like that on that field. They've trained a lot of youth, but it is not enough. You know, we keep asking. It's not enough. Like a doctor have said, we need this process to speed up. You know, we need to see reality on ground. And so more agitation. People agitate so much. And they want to count the numbers of activists in this country. And they want to give award. I'm going to carry number one. You know, because they have like 2-3 activists in the family.
They're fighting for their rights.
No, it's not like you're fighting for your right. But when you think that the leader that is leading you is not doing enough, and you want to claim that you are also a leader, you are going to fail. You understand? Ken Saro-Wiwa died for this process. People died. It's a process that involved blood. A lot of people were killed. Look at who is talking about the families of those that were killed. Everybody just wants something that they will benefit to their pocket. I speak to you now. If those that are agitating, they are lucky like as I am here, that come from the oil-bearing community, that come from, we'll talk about Yola oil field 11. Yola oil field, they talk about clean up side in Ghana. It is only Kwawa and Kpea that have side that they are going to clean. Only Kwawa and Kpea. Kwawa has about 6 oil wells that Shell was operating on that makes our land polluted. When I was growing up, when the operation was still going on, you cannot see any grass grow anywhere in my community. And you change your roof, this zinc, normal zinc, you change it like once in a year. Because people are talking about suit. I was born into suit. And I grew up in suit, because you wake up in the morning, you put your hand in your nose, you see black things coming out. When I was born in my own community, you know. So the effect of all this affect us directly more than people that are staying more distance. So if people like us are quiet, observing, are not agitating that they should change anybody, but we will talk.
Don't you think that's the problem? People being quiet, even though they are being affected by this.
No, being quiet doesn't mean that you go and fight the process that is going to work well.
So people are fighting against this cleanup?
People are fighting. People need their benefit. People, you are in the news media, you will see some youth protesting. What are you protesting for? Why can't you call the leader to order and then with this cause? What are you protesting? You just want the whole world to see that you want to cause trouble, which I'm against. We don't want any youth to be carrying plague out against any leaders. In Ogoni, we know what happened in the 4 Ogoni leaders that was murdered illegally. You know, they were murdered because of issues that was unclear to some people. They felt that these people have collected money, and there was no money they took. So since if you keep protesting in that violent protest in that manner, for you have right to protest. But at a time, let's exhaust our internal mechanism of how to dialogue. When leaders can no longer dialogue, then you can have youth groups that is no good. Yesterday I was even seeing one. They were also talking. Every now and then, and I'm still asking the question: how is it that everybody that apply for organization, the CAC will quickly approve? They quickly approve. They don't even look whether they want. So the group is just one person. It become the president, become the leader. Everything you'll be hearing one person, and you'll be answering them as if yes, a lot of flow. Of hunger in the land. If there's any day you want to mess for protest, maybe you give 200 naira or 300 naira for people, they jump into vehicle. Protest started. You see a group of people, which is not helping us. Every day we continue to condemn what God gave to us. Because for me, I will continue to thank former President Muhammadu Buhari for having made very, very, very necessary to start this process. We have the former President Goodluck Jonathan, who's come from the Niger Delta area, that have kick-started this process. It did not. The political will of the former president was so clearing to the Ogoni people. And I will keep thanking him for this single process that is still on. Waiting, Mr. Tinubu came, Mr. President came. He did not say, okay, I was not part of this process. Let me kick it off. We continue. That is why I see the senior officer on I think community engagement and all that was in Ogoni discussing with some stakeholders, discussing with leaders, and to hear from them. And we spoke, and she have heard us, and she have also promised that this bottleneck is going to be looked at. That is what I'm excited about. That the president should look at it, because if you want to approve, like for instance, you want to approve like 10 million naira or 20 million naira, you run to Abuja. Look at the danger in taking flight every minute. Every minute you are with the minister, you are with every time. So we need these things to be handled here, so that this process will be. People will be complaining about the. You'll be complaining, thinking that the PC is not doing enough, but it's not all in its power. The power, you have the governing council, they have the board of trustees. These people need to approve, which I think is normal, so that they checkmate how you spend the money. The $1 billion that was sent, I think for me is almost finishing. So other people that are supposed to bring their counterpart funding, like some the IOCs that refuse to bring a counterpart funding. This is where you should.
This is also a problem here.
It's a problem now. This is where you should generate respect to those companies that refuse to fund this process. These are areas we need to talk to. We have to look at how many companies have refused to pay. Share have done their own bit by also supporting. I think sometimes I used to see them coming to site to monitor and supervise what it is also good. But they are the primary cause of this problem in the Niger Delta. But however, since they have the political will aware anyhow to clean the area, let's support them. The process went smoothly. But again, let's the PC even go to his office. We want to see the list of those that have not paid their counterpart funding. Let's put our energy on them. Why have you people not paid? Are you satisfied with what has been carried out, or what are you trying to do? What is your next step? Not attacking the innocent man that cannot approve certain amount of money at any point in time. If you see the level of training they've done to some youths in Ogoni, excessively, what happened? They are working on a set of excellence. About how many thousands of Ogonis are working there. And there was a protest. You know how some of these construction companies do their bidding and how much they have to pay to their workers. And they must say, look, any Ogonis that is working on site, there is a special money we are going to pay, apart from the money you are paying. And that is being carried out. We are going to pay some certain amount of money, extra money. Instead of that, instead of us to come into your company policy and see that your policy will affect us. So we keep doing that, and we can always commend the good work he's doing. Okay. And the one he has not done well, we'll continue to talk about it.
All right. In hastening up the process now, what other steps do you think should be taken?
More money should be pumped into the Ogoni cleaning project. Number one. Number two, the independent oil, the IOCs should also support. You have a Jeep, you have ELF, Tutafina, you have Mobile, you have Chevron in some places. So all those companies operating in the area, in the Niger Delta area, should support.
All right, at this point we'll go on a short time. So when we return, the conversation continues. We have other stories for you. Please stay with us.
Because this road wey so e no guarantee safe delivery o.
We just dey vote for government. We will not get good.
Kasali, I hope so my car ready. I get interview in 30 minutes.
Guy, you don't ready. Now just the last minute instruction where you give me yesterday. Now in the cost more delay. Now you say make I change the meter, make you no read again.
Which time make you change meter? Oh, Kasali, why you dey do like this now? You don't get sense. You don't read the text message. I won't send them to. Like Kasali, my electrician, make it come house, do my meter so that you don't go to read again. You know electrician.
Yeah. So you call Kasali electrician, make it come help you adjust your meter, make it for no read again, Abi. So you said you want join people where be say I no want they pay them again, Abi. Oga, you no good now. You know you said you behave like all stiff people.
What you change for motor? What you change for?
Full light. Square gauge. Speedometer.
For what you now? You go come out for home my motor. I beg for me.
Okay. Now don't do something we corrupt. Don't take up fire now. They find out how to dodge it.
What you talk?
They greet you.
To you, Akinfade Foundation, the MacArthur Foundation,
and with broadcast support from Atlantic Television Network.
What you want buy am?
Small basket. I want plantain. Why your plantain hard this? And at the outside hat, inside there, it see my belly. Often it don't big.
For this country, let me take am.
This message is brought to you by the Akinfade Foundation, the MacArthur Foundation,
and with broadcast support from Atlantic Television Network.
From line across the ocean.
Good to know you're still with us on Atlantic Blowout. It has been a blowout ever since we started. Let's look at the next story now. The Senate Committee on National Security has backed its House of Representatives new performing this year's Hajj said not quickly overhauling the presidential air fleet could endanger the lives of the president and his deputy. The House Committee on National Security and Intelligence had, in a report forwarded to the presidency, asked the federal government to immediately procure 2 airplanes for Massa's Tinubu and Kashim Shettima to secure the transportation of the country's top officials. Now, the call by the House Committee immediately triggered widespread criticism by some Nigerians who questioned the wisdom in buying new airplanes at the time Nigeria is facing severe economic hardship. Royal Chief, are you in support of that?
Yes, they have. I think the life of everybody they managing their own. It and how long is it going to relate
Presidency does not reflect the economic realities of Nigeria. People keep saying we criticize too much. An airplane, a new airplane is supposed to last for at least 25 to 30 years. But I am not against the idea of procuring aircrafts for the presidency. But Nigeria is at the crossroads as we speak. Much as we are after nobody prays for any bad thing, that a plane should crash and so on. No. But the idea of procuring 2 more new planes, like Chief said, about 6 or 8 years ago, about 6 or 7 years ago, yes, new aircrafts were procured. The same excuse was given by the previous administration, and they procured new aircrafts. Who is actually benefiting? Is it the presidency or some contractors? Is it the aviation minister? Has he gotten suggestions from people? Are there people offshores who are ready to deal with Nigeria? So this idea of, oh, the aircrafts are bad and so on, is rather lame for me. It's lame. Because...
So what do you think should be done if the excuse is lame? Remember, we're talking about the lives of our leaders.
What lives are we talking about? An average of Nigerians die every day, some because of hunger. Some commit suicide because their lives are hopeless. You are talking of the presidency. Eh? Which leader? You are a leader in your family too. Much as we appreciate what the leaders what the leaders are doing, in a democracy, the interest of the people is paramount. In South Africa, Mandela was a president. They tried to push him to run for another. He said, no. I will be too weak. In some cases, people, presidents, leaders sacrifice even what they have to ensure that when Bill Clinton, for instance, was a 2-term president in the United States, when they left office, they went and bought a house that was built in 1930. And even at that, they were still probing where he got the money. They say, oh, Chinese were contributing so much money to enable the man to buy houses. So it is not as if in a democracy, the president should live in heaven and the ordinary man, ordinary Nigerian, should live in a hell. That's not the rule of the game. The rule of the game is the president has to make sacrifice. Yes, there are the complaints are genuine, but the area where I doubt the complaints is that these aircrafts, there are some aircrafts that were procured midway into Buhari's administration. Yes. Aircrafts last for 25-30 years before they can begin to develop fault. I am not saying man-made error cannot lead to anything. But let us consider the cost of living crisis in this country. Let us consider the fact that the average Nigerian is dying, not because he is sick, but because of basic things like food. Basic necessities like food, drink, transportation. So, well, nobody will stop them. They have merely told the Nigerians that they want to buy aircraft. If they want to buy 5, that's okay.
Remember that during Buhari's tenure, about two aircrafts were being sold, put for sale.
Yes.
Yes. So while we're talking about of these aircrafts being available, and well, if you're looking at the economic state, like some Nigerians have mentioned, state of the economy right now, and said that's not what we need at the moment, then of course you have your thoughts on that one.
Now, what I'm saying is this: the most worrisome issue here is that Nigeria as a nation does not have a national carrier. If you go to Saudi Arabia, they say Emirates. If you go to Kenya, you have the airline. If you go to Ethiopia, you have their airline. What is the official airline of Nigeria? We don't have a national carrier. Is it only the president that should move? Fly from country to go? We don't have a national carrier. I expect the Minister of Aviation to work towards, having a national. They passed Sirika, what's his name? The past aviation minister deceived the country, brought in another the carrier of another country to deceive the entire nation. That Nigerians look at our national carrier. I expect they should make a plan that in the next 6 months, Nigeria should have been able to bring on board its national carrier. Which airplane would they identify with Nigeria? None. Airpeace is privately owned. This is Dana belongs to another. This is what is the popular one? Arik is individually owned. Yes. Which one can Nigeria be identified with as a nation? So what they can go right to, but they are not sensitive to the needs and aspirations of the average Nigerian. We will take it that they are not sensible enough to know what is happening.
Okay, so this story says that the Nigeria Police Force has raised an alarm that the ongoing police constable recruitment exercise was marred by alleged corruption and irregularities. Now, the list of successful candidates in the recruitment exercise was recently published by the Police Service Commission as a PSC. The force spokesperson, Muyiwa Adejobi, who disclosed this in a statement on Saturday, expressed surprise over an alleged disappearance of names of screening candidates who were successful in the last stage of the Commissioner of Police actually said that police authorities decided to raise the alarm after scrutinizing the PSC list of successful candidates. Now, he explained that the PSC list was subjected to scrutiny following receipt of a series of complaints from candidates alleging corrupt practices in the recruitment. The first spokesperson said the police authorities have dissociated themselves from the list of successful candidates. Corruption in the recruitment process. Let's get your thoughts, Morochi.
This is what we continue to say, that until you punish that are committing crimes, you see crimes resurrecting every minute of the day. Even the police as a unit, they have so many units. For I'm even thinking of scrapping some of the units that is doing the same job of another unit. The same unit, the same police. You have so many units that is doing the same kind of jobs. You get? So if they themselves can identify that corruption exists, glory be to God. Because when you see their officers misbehaving on the road, they never accept. The senior officers will never accept that is one of them. They will never accept, because you will not see where you see police recruiting. And I keep asking myself, how were they recruited to the police force? After passing through all the training and all that, at the end of the day, they will turn to be criminal on the road, instead of them protecting my lives and lives of the general Nigerians. So, if the list, they found out that it was not duly, they were not duly selected or screened, I thank them that they identified that was fault in the system. But how could we punish those that you bought the forms, you went to the class, you went for the exam they set for you, you passed through the exams, you passed through the thorough training. At the end of the day, your name will just be removed because you could not pay certain amount of money to some social numbers of police officers. It's very bad and worrisome to some of us that you have people that I have signed for about 5 persons as a traditional ruler. I have signed what I was expected for me to sign. I called the DO to sign, the DPO signed for them in my area. At the end of the day, they went for training. if they skate through all the training, all the practical tests they went through, at the end of the day, they were calling me that their name was not involved. That is not what it's all. They should punish those, they give this exercise to those that were monitoring this exercise, those that were involved. The police, without telling us, they should have told Nigerians that we have arrested so and so numbers of our personnel. We found them guilty of doing they are under investigation. That is what I expect them to say. Not only cancelling them, they should not only putting those things that we are public screen. Let them punish the officers.
All right. Let's hear you, Dr. John.
It is normal. It has
What
become
is
a
normal
norm.
now?
It has become a norm that in every facet of our life, corruption has eaten deep. If you go to the universities, admission processes are rigged. If you go to recruitment of, if you go to recruitment process of some public sector companies, you still see the same rigging. If you go to the civil service, it's even worse. In most cases, they take the worst and remove the best. That's what we see. Now, it is one of the responsibilities of the police to investigate. Now, there is a problem within the police. Let them investigate. And like Chief said, our jurisprudence is tilted towards punishing the offenders. So let them go ahead to punish those who are responsible. Thereafter, take a second look at the list. And if they are going to put it aside, because if they say they are going to carry out, it's as a process, you know. They did not just release names. They should cross-check with the original names. At some point, there might have been an authentic list. At another point, some names were what? At least people should be able to know at a particular point that so Mr. XY are the people who were accepted in the recruitment process. So they should be able to cross-check with that list and come up with the authentic list and remove those shafts.
Okay.
This is one of the problems we face. When you don't take the best, it is mediocrity. Not just corruption, it's mediocrity. And it's all doomed for us. Yes. When you begin to take people who are not qualified for a particular job, they don't have self-esteem. And therefore, they will rubbish the entire police force.
It's really sad that when conversation gets interesting, it's when it's time to go. We've come to that point where we need to wrap things up on the show, and I must take our time to appreciate my guests for joining me today. Thank you so much, Chief Magnus Edo, for joining us today on Blowout. And Dr. John?
Abdurrahman.
I will definitely start adding that to your name when I introduce you. Thank you so much for your time on the show today. And thank you so much, yes, to you, our viewers. Thank you for being a part of this amazing conversation. Really interesting, but we wouldn't have done this without you. So thank you once again. Don't forget to stay connected with us on ATN socials, on Facebook and YouTube at Atlantic Television Network, on Instagram and TikTok at Atlantic TV Network 1. Join us.